Good morning, fellow traders. This is Jonathan van Clute with Stock Navigators on Monday, March 18th, 5:45 a.m. Pacific time. Just want to remind you, if you haven't already, to please do subscribe to the channel and give us a thumbs up on these videos if you like them, if they're useful or helpful to you. That really helps us out. And of course, give us your feedback. Let us know what we can do to help your trading, and if these videos, you find them informative, useful, or is anything else we can do differently to assist you. All right, let's take a look at the S&P 500. Let's start there, as we always do, for those who are new to the channel. So first thing we got to look at is we have finally actually gotten right up to the top of this zone here, this triple top from before. And right here, we poked up just above it, just barely above it. And it did not hold above it. It came right back down. You can see it. If I zoom in a little bit, you can see it better. Oops. If I zoom in on that, you can just see it poked right above that zone and came right back into it before the close. So we are at an extremely delicate area right now. It's been taking a while to get there. And right now you can see very clearly that we have a declining oscillator here. So this trend, as it's been going up and up and up and up, is actually getting weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker. So does that mean that it has to fall from here? No, of course it does not mean that it has to do anything. But it does suggest that right now this trend is losing steam. That being said, it is still up right now. There's no question about it. It is still making higher highs and higher lows. At this moment, we will not have absolute confirmation that this trend has reversed or that a new correction is in order or anything like that until this low here has been broken. That is the time at which point we will have absolute 100% confirmation. But this is the trade-off in trading: is do you give up a big chunk of the trade, or maybe even most of the trade, in order to be 100% confirmed? Or do you go with the probable trade of this being a really good place to think about getting short, and then just have a stop right outside that level? And you've got small risk and large possible reward, because if we do, in fact, correct and make a lower low, then obviously there's a lot of additional trade right in this level here. So what to look for? Well, on the 60-minute, you can also see we have the same scenario. We have the oscillator declining, 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 declining as price goes up, 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 up. So it's the exact same story playing out. And right now, here's the high. Okay, that is that little tick above, or a couple of ticks above the zone there. So that is what needs to be climbed over in order to have any hope of going higher. We have to continue to make higher highs. So that is what we're looking for to fail. We want to watch and see if price attempts to test this level. And if it does, what does it do at that point? So right now, of course, there is a very small amount of distance between those two areas. So this is why it becomes a low risk entry. If this is going to fail this morning, then you can just place a stop right outside that high. And that is the most that you have risk in the trade. At the moment, though, like I said, there's no confirmation that the market has to turn around. We have to break the most recent higher low. If I zoom out again, we can see higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. So in the short term, we've got to break this level here to be confirmed that the 60-minute has lost some steam and is probably going to correct. So that is the initial signal there. But frankly, that low is not extremely significant to me. I see this low as being the more significant one. But, again, same situation. We have a lot of distance between those 2 points. So how much do you want to potentially give up? So anyway, just watch for the market action this morning. And if you see signs that the market is just not really able to break higher with any kind of strength, then you know that it is probably giving up the ghost, and you can see about positioning yourself to go short, take profits, whatever you need to do. But just realize that right now we are in a very significant resistance area, and there's every possibility that it doesn't hold. Now, that being said, if it does break higher, then actually this whole segment here is not done and is going to continue. And this is going to be a very significant push to the upside. So if we can break over this zone and hold it there, then I would look for some kind of continuation to the upside. That is possible. That being said, I mean, the indicators are saying what they're saying, and they're saying that this trend to the upside is getting weaker and weaker. So we can't just ignore that. So we have to trade really cautiously here at this level. This is a significant time moment in the market, and we have to treat it accordingly. But right this second, I mean, you can see here as well, there's another indication to the bullish side. Okay, we have the MACD line crossing the signal line to the upside. So right now, like it or not, the trend is still up, and it has not yet proven to us that it's done. So we just have to keep that in mind, and we have to continue to trade with the trend. And right now we can see, if I were to drop a trend line there, oops, what just happened? There it is. Okay, so there's our trend. There's just no arguing with that. So maybe it just pulls back to the trend line and then keeps on going. Well, we'll just have to wait and see. But right now, anyway, still got to look to the upside, but being aware that the trend is weakening and watching for any kind of signs of downside momentum. All right, looking at crude oil, and crude oil is continuing to attempt to climb this trend line. It has broken higher, so the higher highs and higher lows are continuing. But much like with the S&P 500, we do have an oscillator diverging here, making lower highs as price continues to make higher highs. So it could run out of steam and retrace kind of at any time. But again, that being said, our trend is up. This trend line, if I were to move it right to there and cut through this bottom wick there, that's kind of what I'm looking at right now for an adjusted trend line. But we are continuing to make higher highs and higher lows. That's why I'm willing to just adjust this trend line and acknowledge at this point wasn't quite accurate. It's because we are still making higher highs and higher lows. So that has not been broken yet. But on the 60-minute, you can see we are pretty sideways here for the last couple of sessions. And while we've been pretty sideways, the oscillator has been heading down. So that's a terrible arrow. So right now, anyway, the oscillator, it has crossed below the zero line here. So we are looking for possible weakness here, and any signs of this turning around and coming to the downside should be met with the willingness to accept that the trend may be changing. That being said, we've seen buyers come in down at this level and shove price back up again. So if there are still buyers down in this area, then price pulling back might be short-lived. Right now, the oscillator is still above the zero line here. There's no question about that. Yes, it's getting weaker, but we don't yet have any kind of definitive sign that this trend wants to come back down again. Right now, higher highs, higher lows. We don't yet have a failure to make a higher high and a break of the higher low. So until we see something along those lines, we kind of have to go with the upside. So any pullback to this trend line is an opportunity to look to get long. That's what we're dealing with in crude right now. Taking a look at gold, and gold, after it had this quick pullback here, has marched higher, but sort of sideways to higher. So I am nervous about this because this looks a lot like a bear flag to me, in which case I would expect this distance here to repeat itself, and I would be looking for that here. To illustrate that, we can actually use our Fibonacci retracement tool and only look at the 100%. And we're looking for something along the lines of this. So if that is in fact a bear flag and price continues, then we're looking for a target of about there, somewhere in that area, the 100% extension. And actually, I can already see I got that point slightly wrong. It should go, I think, there. There we go. So there you go. 100% extension is what we're looking for. And that is also the 76.4% retracement on this up leg here. I'm actually going to delete that one so it's less messy. So watch out for that. If we see a break to the downside, you can draw a couple of trend lines there if you want, and get yourself, situated for a flag, something along the lines of that. And if we break that to the downside, then you know what your target is that you're looking to grab. So watch for that in the gold market. That is kind of what looks to be shaping up right now. That being said, of course, if we were to be able to take out this level up here, well, then definitely we are continuing the upwards trend. Right now, though, oscillator is below the zero line, so this is a little bit weak. And unless it can cross above that zero line, we don't really have any kind of definitive upwards momentum. So right now we just need to trade what the chart is showing us. And if the chart breaks to the downside, breaks this line here, then I'm looking for a bear flag extension. Okay, let's take a look at natural gas. And natural gas is just going very sideways right now. On the daily, you can see it's just very much kind of trapped in this little zone here, just bouncing around. But the oscillator, look closely, has crossed above the zero line, just barely, and is holding it. So the bulls are really trying to hold this up. Now, just in the last hour, we have this huge candle to the upside, gigantic bullish engulfing, and it is in a somewhat significant area. We've had previous support in this area, and we have lows here, and notice that we're making higher lows. So this is a good sign of some continued bullish momentum to the upside. They are definitely trying to push this market up. The oscillator is below the zero line currently, so got to be mindful of that, but it is trending upwards, and certainly if we can see a break the zero line, then we're looking for the balance of power to shift back to the bull side again. The oscillator did diverge here as price was going higher, oscillator was going lower, and you can see once it crossed the zero line, we had a nice little pullback there, a good trade to be had. So look for the same thing here. We crossed the zero line to the upside. Watch for momentum to the upside as long as it comes with it when it breaks the zero line, as long as we're also breaking previous highs and continuing to set higher highs along with these higher lows. Okay, let's finish up with a peek at Bitcoin. And Bitcoin is just kind of grinding higher. It's just in this little diagonal-ish channel here. Oscillator has gotten above the zero line, and at the moment anyway, on the daily, it is holding there. So it's looking like the buyers are really trying to push this market up, and they've got to challenge this high here. This is that, oh gosh, what was it, 1450 or 1455, something like that. I forget the exact number, or not 14, sorry, 4450. I think it was 4415, something like that. Anyway, you can see it's close to the 4500 level, and we really got to get over that because that is our previous lower high, and we've just been stuck in this channel here, just kind of going nowhere. It's going very sideways. So the bulls are trying. I mean, you can see they're going higher highs and higher lows here on a 60-day basis. Right now, though, I mean, look at the oscillator. Look where the oscillator was when it made this high, and look where it is now, and this is not that much lower. So that's a discrepancy. This is not a divergence. Technically speaking, it's not a divergence. But it is something to be mindful of. What I see there, I don't necessarily like the look of that, and I see the oscillator getting weaker. So don't know if this bullish push is really going to hold. The bulls have really got to get over this level if it's going to be able to hold. So at the moment, overall, just sideways. There's no real clear-cut trend, but if I absolutely positively had to pick a direction, I got to go with the bull side. I got to go with the uptrend. Even though I see some cautionary signs, you can see it clearly here, higher highs and higher lows. So that's what we're doing. We're trying to make higher highs and higher lows, and until that stops happening, we really got to stick with that trend. So trading to the upside in Bitcoin with understandable caution. We've got some resistance overhead, and we've certainly got this huge channel that we need to break out of. Now, if we see that, then we have some serious bullish momentum possible. So watch for that. If the bulls are able to get it up there and hold it, preferably I'd like to see them push through, come back down, test and hold, and then go higher. Then we know for sure that we have the downtrend is done, the bear market is over, etc., however you want to look at it, and a new uptrend has started. All right, one last peek at the S&P 500, which at this instant is trying to push higher, but not really doing it. Not really able to keep doing it. We'll have to see what happens with the opening bell in 30 minutes. But right this moment, anyway, just kind of stuck at this very significant, very key sell level, sell zone. So watch out for that and just see what the opening does. And then once the market has picked a lane, be ready to get on board, catch as much of it as you can. That's it for me, Jonathan Van Clute with Stock Navigators. Again, reminding you to please do subscribe to the channel if you aren't already, and a big welcome also to the current, most recent subscribers, rather. And, of course, give us a thumbs up on the video if you like it. Give us feedback, comments, and so forth. We would love to hear what's helpful and what we can do to continue to help your trading. All right, for now, I'm going to go get ready for the premium chat room this morning. We'll get started there in about 15 minutes or so, 15 to 20 minutes. So for those who are going to be there, I will see you there. For everybody else, I will see you again Wednesday morning, same time, same channel. Till then, trade well.